too much for you, we do have what's called the wiggle room right there. It's not just, it says on the door like for infants because our big kids, like our adults, are going in there and getting on their phones and then annoying. But if there's toys in there, if that's easier, if it's easier for you, it's up to you. But yeah, I'm glad you came. First time? Oh, you're welcome. I'm Ann, I'm chair of the board. I happen to be the service leader too, so I've got to get organized. I'm totally unorganized right now. Probably already. Hey. Oh, is that her in the sweater? Can you connect them? Hi, how are you? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Ann Packham. I'm going to be your service leader today. Welcome to the University Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Before we get into the meat of the service, a few public service announcements. First of all, the emergency exits are the door that most of you came in through, as well as the door over here and the door to the Memorial Garden. Another announcement is if you are not feeling well, as are several people in our congregation this week, it seems like, please stay home. Watch us on Facebook or on YouTube, and we'll love to have you back when you are feeling better. And please silence any devices that you may have that may distract you throughout the service so we can settle into our space here. And actually, before we settle in too much into our sacred space, are there any committee chairs or others who have announcements that they would like to bring to the attention of the group? Please come to the microphone over here.
Good morning, Laura Owens. I just wanted to, on behalf of Social Action Committee, I wanted to thank people for bringing in the blankets and jackets and socks for the emergency collection that we're doing for the Christian Service Center downtown. Do really appreciate it. We may do it again in the future, but right now it's just an emergency. I'll drop it off tomorrow. So thanks again.
Hi, Lori Hospitality. Two things. Next week we're going to have a potluck and the theme is heartwarming. Whether it's your mental or your physical, it's going to be things that make you feel good or feel warm inside. So next week, please bring fully prepared food for 6 to 8. If you can't cook and you can't buy, just come. There's always lots of food. Other thing is, I still have openings for the serving on the coffee week after next. So if you want to have an option to come in and service your other parishioners, please reach to me after service.
Thank you. Joey Cole, this is not a committee moment, but on the way home from Cocoa the other day, I got a bag of oranges that said they were red navel oranges. The bag is back there. I tried one on my husband, and spoiler alert, he says they're not sweet enough. Therefore, well, you know, when you're in a nursing home, every little thing like that. At any rate, the whole bag is back there. They're wonderful, but please take as many as you like. I need to get rid of them.
Hi, I'm Peter. I'm speaking on behalf of the Inquiring Minds group, which will be meeting next Sunday at 9 o'clock, back in the back of the building there. And I will actually be, yes, a.m., thank you, Paula. I will be facilitating it. The discussion will be consumerism and its consequences, both good and bad, and maybe what we can do about it.
Hi, David McElroy. Normally our men's group is kind of in the middle of the month, but next Monday, I think yes, the February 3rd is when the men's group is. And if you've not been and want information, you can see me afterwards.
Morning, Michelle Flores, and I am here to introduce to you our new RE coordinator.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Some of you may know me. I worked here from 2018 to 2022 as an RE teaching assistant. I was usually in the back, though, so you might not have a face to recognize. But otherwise, you might be getting my emails. But yes, I am the new coordinator for the religious education. This is my first day back, and I am here for a while, so yay. You're welcome to see me after today, but we will do a formal meeting in the next few weeks for any parents or anyone who wants to get more formally acquainted with me. My name is Tay or Taylor, pronouns she, her, but name doesn't matter.
Jill Vita for Women's Group. We're going to meet the 7th here at 6:30. We're having a Galentine game night. So we'll play some games, have some food, and enjoy each other.
Hi, Chloe McElroy. This is not necessarily a committee moment. I'm not sure if any of you guys saw them on the way in, but we have some sandhills hanging out by the entrance to our driveway here. They're probably going to be hanging out there for a while, so just when you're exiting, watch out for them. It's 3 of them. Just want to make sure that we're following our 7th principle and making sure we're respecting the land we share with the animals.
Good morning, everyone. Miguel Rodriguez from Social Action Committee. I have not bought eggs in about a couple of months, but I've heard that the prices are actually increasing. And yes, I didn't expect the opposite, but this, yeah, right. But this is not a political issue, and it's not an economic, really. It isn't. It's a health issue. That's one of the reasons why it's soaring. So with that in mind, Laura did a great job putting together what we call the resource guide, and it's for UUU and the community, actually. So if you go into the SAC website, toward the bottom, there is a link, and Colleen's going to update it so you can clearly see that it says click here, and it'll open up the document. And what it says is maybe you want to know how to listen and talk to the other side, or have difficult conversations on issues with someone you love but don't agree with. Maybe you want to mend an estranged relationship due to politics. Maybe you want to take action. Or maybe you want some information. Regarding the egg prices, this has to do a lot with bird flu. And the administration has prevented now the health agencies from distributing out information regarding health issues. So the resource guide will have information for you to take care of yourself, your loved ones. If you have, chickens and what have you, you have to know what to do, contact information for the USDA, things like that we'll be having and posting. So with that said, we also have today a SAC meeting at noon in the library, and hope you all can attend. Social Action Committee. So all are welcome to attend, and hopefully we'll see you there.
Hi, Marilyn Furmanek, and y'all get ready for March 1st for a fundraiser for the church. David and I are performing Love Letters by A.R. Gurney. It is a Nobel Prize.
Not Nobel.
Pulitzer nominated play. It's beautifully written. We are going to have refreshments for donation. And March 1st, Saturday, Margie is heading up the appetizers and drinks. Please see her $20 for adults, $15 for students and military, trying to keep it as low as possible. As you all know, theater ticket prices have soared.
It's not just for the church.
It's right. It is for everyone. 6:15 doors open. Show at 7. Yeah, Mary. Excuse me. Here.
Right here.
Here. I'm sorry. Right here.
Yeah. And it's in the notable news. It's in the notable news, and it'll be all over. I send it to everybody, so you'll probably get it at least 10 times.
But mark it on your calendars now.
And good morning. I'm on behalf of Margie, who's sick today. She wanted to remind you all about the adult night out. So we have a lot of fun things coming up. February 8th, we're going to the SAC Comedy Show, which is at 7 o'clock on Saturday the 8th. So you have to buy your own ticket. And if you let Margie know, she'll save a seat for you at Cucino's Pizza right across the street. So we're going to have pizza first at 5:30 and then go watch some comedy improv. It should be fun. So that's all in the notable news, too.
My opening words today are from Swiss theorist and pioneering evolutionary Carl Jung. And he used the word man, but you could substitute human or person. The decisive question for man is he related to something infinite or not? This is the telling question of his life. So our opening music today is from our hymnal, and this is one that we sing in a round. So it's 389. I encourage you to stand up. What we're going to do is sing it all together once through. It's not very long. And then this side, I'm going to signal to you. You'll start the first verse, and then I'll signal to you, and you'll do the second verse. And we'll go through the whole thing 3 times. So once as a group, and then 2 times through as a round. So number 389. And we don't have Janet. Janet is also ill, so she has our pitch pipe. So I'm just going to guess on this note. Do you have the note? Is that F? I think it's there, but oh, it's higher than I thought. Okay, all together then. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, draw near. Wow. Wow. So our chalice lighter today is Chase. Chase is 14 years old, uses the pronouns he and him, and he's excited that he was able to ride his bike. And we'll say together the words on the screen. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. And each week we affirm why we come here, why we get up on Sunday morning and gather together, whether online or in person. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. I want to offer a warm welcome to everybody here today, especially those who may be visiting for the first time. I saw a couple people come in. Welcome. We are mainly a lay-led organization. We have speakers from our religious community, and we have Reverend Kathy here at least once a month. But we also have speakers from other religious traditions. We have professors from our fantastic universities nearby. We have services with our public servers or nonprofit organizations. And then we have, like today, led by members of our own church. So if you're coming here for the first time, we encourage you to try it many times, at least 3 or 4, get a sense of who we are. Come on a potluck Sunday, then you'll get to really know us, like next week. Take a little time to get to know us. So in those words, take a chance to turn around and maybe talk to somebody for just a minute, or greet somebody that maybe you don't know. So you are encouraged to continue those conversations afterward. We have coffee and tea and usually some goodies. We'll go on to, we're on to joys and concerns. So this is an opportunity for us to share what might be on our hearts, the good and the bad. We know that if we share the good things in our lives, they multiply, we hope. And the things that are not so happy, hopefully we can help lessen the burden. So we're going to move. Oh, the microphone's already here. And if you need me to come bring the microphone to your chair, just raise your hand.
My joy is I ride my bike.
You rode your bike, great. Thank you.
So I live in very, very red area of this little part of Florida in Brevard County, northern Brevard County. And I have found a group of women. We are called the Black Cat Resistance, and we are forming some grassroots stuff. It's really, really awesome, and I'm very happy to have found them. Next weekend, there is an event at Harry T. Moore Center. I don't know if any of you have been there, but it's a historic site, and they're doing a breakfast and a walk. And so if anyone's interested, let me know, and I'll send you the link. Next Saturday at 9:30.
Hello, David McElroy. As many of you know, I do a one-man Christmas carol, play all the roles, but I also haul the stuff in and out to different places. And the other day, I decided that I needed to haul it someplace to put it up. And I lifted something up, and I heard this bad thing. And this whole side is like not working real well. So if you would, I would appreciate it if you could send me some good thoughts that this kind of starts easing up a little bit. Thank you.
People keep commenting about my hat. Some get the hat wrong and some get them correct. It's in between.
So what is your hat then? What is it? It's a wolf. Stand over there. It's a wolf?
Wolf.
It's a wolf. Okay, got that. Put it in your set.
Good morning, Kelly Buchanan. I have a concern for my mother. She's 82 years old. I took her to the hospital this Sunday, Martin Luther King weekend Sunday, a week ago. She was diagnosed with pneumonia, which she got discharged, took her home. The next day, Monday, she was having severe pain on her side, took her to a mini ER, diagnosed with shingles. a severe case. Went to her primary care on Tuesday. Again, you know the drill, right? It's healthcare system is. So went to the primary care on Tuesday, looked at the x-ray from the CAT scan. Your mother doesn't have pneumonia. It was shingles all along. And then last night at 2:30 in the morning, I got a call. She took the ambulance to the ER, the hospital, and now she's got colitis. So I just really feel like this is not going to be turning out so well. So just your prayers, please. Thank you.
Hi, Spajak here. I have some family members that are, without going into specifics, dealing with some health stuff right now. I also found out this week that I lost a family member, my dad's cousin, who was very close with, and was very close with me and my sister growing up. The funeral is in the middle of the week in another state, so it wasn't like super feasible for us to get there, but he's in my thoughts.
So this week I'm taking a good friend Beth to the Mayo Clinic for the week. She's getting a tracheal stent put in. So please keep her in your thoughts and wish her the best.
Hi, Kathy here. Today's announcement is about the freedom of Leonard Peltier. But what we need are some really good thoughts. He will be out on February 18th. The government likes to pull last-minute tricks and want to charge people with other things that have gone on, whether they did it or not. So we need some really good thoughts for February 18th. Now that he's going to be freed, it's a continuation of another AIM member who is wrongfully incarcerated. So please keep John Graham in your thoughts and prayers. And keep up the resistance. Go for it, Jill. You know, phone is tapped, you're followed, you're everything. I'll tell you how that is, and no problem. But if you want to really be part of the resistance, expect that.
Yay, resistance. I want to thank everybody. Your thoughts and prayers worked. Last week I asked you for all the good positive vibes we could get from my dad, who was very sick, was afraid of pneumonia. He doesn't have pneumonia, he's getting better. And he's sort of getting back to his usual self. Poor mom. Anyway, and as for me, I got some good health news. All my blood work came back with good numbers, and my calcium levels are normal for the first time in 3 years. So, thank you.
My joy is that my birthday's in 2 months.
I actually remember when I was 7. Star Wars. Come on, Daddy. So that's fine. Hey, so I have a joy. I was last year in December. I went to see a play, and it was for the first time. I've been wanting to see it for years. Finally made it to A Christmas Carol. And I was waiting to tell you this because I was waiting for David and I to be in the room at the same time to tell him how much I just enjoyed it. And the staff as well. Thank you. Chloe, though, I don't know how you got so many people to look like your father. Every single character just looks so much like. But if you haven't seen it, phenomenal director. So if you haven't had a chance to see it, this December, please do.
A couple from our friends online. Amanda Flores wanted to share a joy. Thank you to the parishioner who gave her the flaxseed meal. She's been making delicious oatmeal with it in the morning. And that was, thank you, Anita. I just see that here. And a sorrow that Hugo Scala is in the hospital. So for those of you who know Hugo, we'll need to check out and find out more what that's about.
Let's just take a minute to ponder on the things that were spoken here today and many of those joys and concerns that go unspoken. Amen. All right, I think it's time for all ages. And I think Derek is going to be our leader in this, so come on up. Derek and Erin.
So, you know, I had a joy. Erin is in the house. And thank God, because this would be a real disaster without. So the theme for today's sermon is going to be about the interconnected web. And we're going to do like an experiment, right, that sort of shows how the interconnected web works. When you came in, a couple of folks got a ticket to be part of the experiment this morning. A little piece of paper. A little piece of paper. So if you got a ticket for the experiment, join Erin up front here, right?
We're going to create an elongated oval in the middle. So just come down around. We'll have, you can come stand on this end back here.
It's not really a brain transference. It's So here's the story. Everybody see that? Anybody see that movie? Pay It Forward. Pay It Forward, right? Really cool movie about this little kid who grows up in a family that's kind of dysfunctional, right? His mother's an alcoholic. His dad's not there. His kind of view of the world is it's not such a great place, right? But he gets this project in school about how do you make the world better. And this little kid feels so unimportant. He feels like, how can I possibly make the world better? I'm just me, a little kid in elementary school. But he comes up with this breakthrough idea called Pay It Forward. He's going to do a favor for somebody with no expectation that you get it back, right? The only expectation is you pass it along, right? And this, by the end of the movie, there's people who've had severe emotional problems are on the way to being sort of better. There's a family that's so poor they don't have transportation, they get a car. And the really cool part is there's literally thousands of people who come to it turns out it's the little kid's funeral, right? But they realize just how impactful this idea of we're connected and we are inherently good, right? So that is the fundamental idea of this whole thing. We are connected and we are fundamentally good, right? Okay, so I don't want to give too much of our sermon away, but Erin's gonna kind of show you how this is gonna work. You guys have probably, the folks that were given a ticket, what we're going to do is we're going to build an interconnected web on the fly, right here in this room. Now, obviously, we're all connected. We're all here. We're all humans. We're all breathing, right? So we all have something in common. But Erin is going to, these few specific things are going to tie this group of folks together. And then we're going to introduce a good thought. and we're going to watch that good thought as it moves through this group. All right, so this is risky, never been done before.
All right. Raise your hand if you were born in the state of Florida.
Just the folks in
Born in the state of Florida? No? Just you? Well, we have a single connection. We'll figure out what to do with that. Raise your hand if you attended or attend public school. Perfect. All right, you're gonna hold up your hand. And then it's gonna connect to her, and then you're gonna get one, and it's gonna connect to you. Now put your hands down like you got one. And then you're gonna get one. It's gonna connect to you. And then we got all the way. Let's get you connected all the way over here. I'm gonna get you guys all tangled up and myself tangled up with you. You ready for me to please?
Erin, don't get stuck in the middle, baby.
Well, no, I'm just gonna crawl out at the end. All right, can you hold it? Perfect. Okay. Paula, you went to public school?
No, you gotta have your.
Don't worry, we'll make it work. Actually, I went to public school and I was born. I meet all the parameters. Okay, raise your hand if you have or had at least one pet. All right, let's do it. Ready? Grab it. And grab it. Awesome. Next up.
As you guys can see, what's happening is this.
Oh, here.
This tape is forming right here as a floor.
Grab it. Here we go.
I wish I had
You gotta make sure these are all crossed up. Boom.
We need a camera view from the top. You know?
We need a drone.
And then, is that one for you? Perfect. How many more do we have? We have one. Thank you. Two. And then Mom, me and you are going to share this one. All right. What's next? We got pets. Who participated or participates in at least one sport? All right. Cheerleading absolutely is a sport, and I will exchange words with anyone who says otherwise. All right. Come on. Grab one. Make sure that everyone, if you have multiple, they need to exist in two hands. Mom. Yeah, there you go.
Oh. Getting tricky.
Okay. Hey, I don't know what you thought this was going to look like, but I was expecting it. Oh no, reality is always different. Here you go. Did you do a sport? Huh? Oh, perfect. All right, who still got a sport hand? Okay, we're connected, Travis. All right.
Correct eyewear.
Now. Okay, now everybody is going to kind of pull these so they tighten up a little bit.
Tension.
Give a little bit of tension.
Think of it like that game where you.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I'll figure it out. All right, now. Looking good. Now, the whole point of this is that if you get a good deed done to you, you're going to do one. And that's represented by someone pulls a string in one hand, you feel a tug, you tug the other one. Now, yes, little kid from the movie, his name was Trevor, and we need a Trevor to come start this chain reaction. And I think someone told us that Miss Wolfhat, what's your name? Alice, come on up here. Just for the day. Or for the moment that you pull the string. Now what you're going to do, she's going to take these. Okay. Yes, so you're going to go up to her, and you're going to give her a compliment, and you're going to pull the string at the same time. Think you can do it? Yep, her. You have nice hair, and yeah.
So she pulled your string, so go, pull. And if you feel a pull, you pull. Who's felt a pull? You got to pull in the other hand. You feel a pull, you pull the other hand. Maybe we need a more extreme pull. Okay, now pull. Everybody who gets a pull needs to pull. Okay, I see a pull. I see someone's pulling. Now you got to pull because you felt a pull. Pull, 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 pull hard so that everybody can feel it. All right, now you got to pull. Now we're getting some tugs. There we go. Pull. Keep going. Don't stop. If you feel it, you pull it. It's going to get chaotic. Yes, there we go. There we go. Now we have this movement. This movement represents the energy that's being transmitted, right? So this, we expected this. All right, all right. All right, we can give it a pause. Can I get a round of applause for our friends? And you guys are welcome to just you drop them and then reattend your seats. Oh, thank you. Cool, cool. So, a little bit crazy, a little bit chaotic. Maybe sometimes we're not sure how to connect or how to pass that energy along, but we figure it out, as we figured it out today. And if we had let that go on, it would have lasted forever. It would have been infinite. And we could have included the entire humanity in it in some way, shape, or form, right? So you mentioned Carl Jung earlier, and we were thinking along the same lines because he spent his entire career trying to prove that interconnectedness of humanity's subconscious. So that's kind of what we're going to continue to evaluate today.
It was. Yeah. Did anybody have the participants or the folks in the congregation any thoughts about the interconnected web and what we just saw?
We need more of it.
Okay. Go ahead, Peter.
It's interspecies as well.
Yes.
We couldn't bring a dog. Well, we could have brought a dog in.
I just felt really close to the participants and liked fighting the Vitas.
I just thought it was really great to see it represented as a physical thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the visualization, that was what we were trying to get to.
I found that I was looking forward to getting that tug.
Isn't that right?
I felt that there was a tug of kindness, and because kindness is contagious, when I was being tugged on, it was just natural for me to be kind to the next person.
Like there was a little bit of energy.
Yeah, contagious.
To piggyback on that, the more effort we each gave, the better it got.
Yeah. The more amplification it got, right?
Why did you decide to do it today?
Because the topic of today's sermon is the interconnected web. Was that like a plant? I thought for me the cool observation is the one little interrupt, the one little tug, it just went on and on and on forever and ever. It doesn't end, right? Imagine it's the whole of everything, right? So it's the whole butterfly effect idea, right? A butterfly flaps his wings in Alaska and somebody feels good in Florida, right?
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's time for our interlude and offering. We are a generous congregation, so if you are a regular donor, please feel free to give your donation. And if you're a visitor, we have a QR code here that allows you to give a one-time donation on our website. Everything's going up, not only eggs, but the cost of heating, so please be generous. In the meantime, though, we do give 40% of our loose plate offering to an organization every quarter, and it is ACLU, so please give generously. We will have the Goldberg Variation Symphony playing while we're in our interlude. Thank you very much. Now we get a chance to sing out our children so they can go have their lessons in the back. So please feel free and help me sing them out. We love you and bless you and send you on your way. We love you and bless you today and every day. My heart warms when I see all those little ones. It's very exciting. Oh, we are delighted today to have members of our own congregation here, Derek and Erin Catlin, who you just met a few minutes ago. And they are going to be presenting to us today on the inseparable relationship between God, life, and love. Take it away.
No small topic, right? And thank goodness I got my daughter and my hero here with me. She pulled that together, man. That was going to be. Who knows what that would have been? Anyway, so you got it. It's just basically the seventh principle. And we have a slide advance, you guys.
They look like they're working on it.
There you go. Okay, so just the disclaimer. This is just our thoughts, our opinions, our beliefs, and it does not reflect the views of the management. Next slide. Okay, so why are we doing this today? I think number one, Erin and I, a long time ago, right? Before we ever knew what UU was or this was here, our own sort of view of the world was that we were all connected. So for us, this was just like in our DNA. You know, part of me thinks there's a little bit of a Native American in me, and maybe that's that reason. I don't know, right? But we've always had this sort of feeling that this idea of the interconnected web is so much more powerful than just us talking to each other, right? It's sort of everything. And then the prompts from Martha. Look, guys, this is the paid commercial advertisement section of the presentation. We are a lay-led congregation, and that means lay people. Occasionally got to do the deal, right? So here we are. And Martha gave us some really great prompts. Of course, there were the ones that, do you believe in God? Is there a God? How can you describe that? Are humans inherently good or not, right? What happens after we die? So certainly some big topics. And I think Martha's original intent was you would take one of them. We're going to tackle like 5 of them, right? So, and then another thing is when I'm out in the world, right, or we're out in the world and, traveling, playing pickleball, and somebody says, well, gets around to, I'll usually say something like, I volunteer at my church. And they're like, what church? And what do you guys believe? And you get a lot of this, well, what do you believe? And you also get a little bit of what happens to your soul, right? When you go over the edge, right? Whatever it is. So, I wanted to be able to articulate that. So whether or not you can use what we talk about today, I don't know. But this is how we were trying to put those thoughts together, right?
Yeah.
Erin, you want to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's usually not 2 of us up here. I know this is not the norm, but if we're talking about connection, what better example of that connection than a father and a daughter? It's pretty inherent there. And I've kind of adopted my life on my view on life and God from him, especially the idea that what we put into this world lives on long after we're gone. He first shared it with me when I was 10 and my grandfather passed, and it's brought me comfort then, brings me comfort now, and we just wanted to share that with you today.
Cool. Other sort of impetus, as if we need more, right? There was a General Assembly sermon. We saw it via recording, but I used to think that the interconnected web, and the way it reads, it's just between man and nature, right? But that's not it at all, right? It's the connection between everything, right? It's the first sentient being crawled out of the primordial ooze and realized he wasn't alone, right? So it's that connectivity to everything. And then there was a sermon kind of, I guess, Martha, it was sort of the first in the series, where we were invited to express our beliefs, right? Without, hopefully, anybody throwing too much stuff at us. So here we are, right? This is what we're kind of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I wish this mic, I feel like I'm... The heck with it. All right. I can just take it out and walk around and yell at you. Okay. All right.
He's going to do that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Next slide. So Erin, you got this one here, but because I didn't even know what this meant.
So he comes from the corporate world. He was making this presentation. He did a lot of presentations in his corporate world, and he had a slide titled Executive Summary. And I said, you don't need an executive summary for these people. like, come on. And he was like, come on, we need it. We need to tell people what we're going to talk about. And I said, fine, do a TLDR. And he said, a what? So TLDR stands for too long, didn't read. You'll see it on the internet. So if anyone on YouTube...
Which turns out is an insult, right?
It's also a favor, right, to people who want to know what they're getting into. So we're not going to tell you what God looks like, who they are, what they stand for. Just God is. That's what we believe, and that's what we're gonna say today. We'll also talk about the inherent good that exists in all people, with some evidence as to why and how. We'll touch on the idea of the afterlife and what it means to us and how it relates to that interconnected web. And then we'll explore the connection between love, or life, good, and love, and God, and as always, love being the spirit of our church. So we're gonna get there.
I can see, man, we're going to need to crank the speed up here, Erin.
We got
right?
it. Let's go.
So okay. All right. Okay, so we don't really have an agenda. I'm not trying to convince you to do anything or believe anything or anything. There is no agenda, just some topics we're going to talk about, right? Maybe you'll be inspired to do your own sermon one day, but other than that, this is just what we're thinking. There's more than chemistry, right? So a lot of the pure scientists in the world will say it's all explainable by chemistry, and we kind of think otherwise. We'll talk a little bit about faith and the persistence of life through good. The story we just told in the Time for All Ages. Our point of view on what is the interconnected web of existence, how karma kind of comes to play, and then a little bit about the afterlife, and then just summarize with what God means to us. Okay? Okay. Okay, so more than chemistry, and these are all personal, right? For me, a lot of this is how I came to be more than just thinking it was physics and chemistry. This is very personal stuff. But when you see when you're in the hospital and your child gets born, and the nurse brings the child to the mom, and you see that connection, right? That first time connection of the mom with the baby. Holy crap. That is just like dumbfounding, right? You ever see when you got a bunch of little kids playing and you bring a puppy into the room? You ever see that? I mean, there's like this panic of love, right? It's just so cool, right? And they're all crawling over each other. Having been a groom, and your bride comes into church, geez, your heart just explodes, right? Now, I understand. There's a lot of adrenaline and other kind of chemistry going on in your body, but it seems like there's so much more to it, right? Just that sense of discovery, right? And a new life that's going to be coming to you. You ever watch a grandparent with a baby? And they do that little raspberry thing? And the grandparent will be this normally, like, I'm thinking of one particular grandparent, and he's like a hedge fund manager. And yet, you put him with the grandchild, and he's a whole different thing, right? It's just crazy. You watch a bunch of kids, and my kids played sports, and I believe strongly in the teamwork that sports builds among people. But you watch a group of girls overcome injuries or really hard competition or really hot weather, or you just watch them rise above the moment, right, to be greater than the sum of the parts. You ever walk in, it's been a lot of us live in Florida, but if you ever lived up north, it's been a long, cold winter. It's gray, it's rainy, it's frankly shitty, right? And then the garden blooms in spring, and you walk into that garden, how do you feel? It's just like something flows over you and through you, right? And then, the one that's a little bit sad, but, and Erin kind of touched on this, but the loss of a loved one, and then the kind of thing that kind of fills the hole, right, after that person passes, the reassurance that you get from the people around you, right? So, just examples that why there's more to this than some chemistry and some atoms and some neutrons and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Next slide. I can't remember. You were doing this one?
Oh, this was you.
Okay, this is me. Okay, yeah, okay. So believing that, right? Believing that there's more than just chemistry or physics is faith. I put a couple of, and it's interesting that there are so many, points of view on what this idea of faith is, right? From, pop culture, The Matrix, right? To, some of, in the Eat, Pray, Love story. One I really wanted to kind of bring forward was I am a nuclear engineer. Believe it or not, that is what I am, a nuclear engineer. And back when I was learning to be a nuclear engineer, we were just discovering this thing called a quark, right? Which is a subatomic particle, right? And we couldn't see it. You can't see a quark. Even today, you can't see a quark. But we know they exist. In fact, there are 6 kinds of quarks. How do we know? Because we see how things behave around them. We observe the behavior to know something is there. Point being, we observe this behavior. Kids with puppies, a mom with her newborn child, right? We observe this, so we know there must be some kind of energy there. We haven't quantified it yet. Well, we kind of have, because there's 6 quarks with different spins. but we know it's there, right? We just can't really see it. That's faith, knowing it's there. Go ahead.
And then this one's, yep.
Yeah, yep.
And then we're not blind in that faith either. I would consider us to be rather evidence-based type of people. And so we have faith that life persists because we've seen it happen, and we see it happen all the time. Trees are my favorite example of that persistence. If you look at the forest floor a few months after a fire, what do you see? Sprouts, right? If you've been to Arizona or anywhere in that western desert, you look in a crack in a boulder in the driest place in the United States, you see a tree, right? You see something growing and persisting. Or you can consider birds. The Arctic tern flies 24,000 miles in a year in its search for an endless summer. That is the circumference of the Earth. And it's doing that just to persist. We see it in our own most basic human instincts to survive and a determination to persist. And these are all outcomes of evolution, right? The long-term manifestation of life wanting to persist without a explainable step as to why, right? And then life isn't persisting just to be, right? It's persisting to transmit the good. We as humans, we're constantly seeking justice, and that justice might look different to different groups of people, but we seek it nonetheless. It sometimes seems like that search for justice may never end. It's a fluid, abstract, and elusive concept that's taken many forms. And since the dawn of civilization, we've fought and sought to seek and to find and implement that justice. And then we also seek the good internally, right? Our minds tend to forget or even block out the bad, right? But when you have the good, you carry it, you hold it with you, and it stays with you for much longer. I mean, Jesus, Muhammad, the Buddha, they all wanted to promote the good, and it stayed with us for basically ever.
And those are the stories that we persist.
Yeah,
right?
and those are the ideals that encourage love and caring and empathy and respect and integrity, and they've become our beliefs and our legends and what we base our society around. And then there's the lessons that get passed down through generations. So there's no person in my family that I think I'm more like than his dad. He passed when I was young, and I didn't spend all that much time with him. but I definitely carry his spirit with me. He was a creative, he was a lifelong learner, he was an empath. He was someone who gave and gave and gave, and sought joy in life. And it's not in our genes. It's not our genetics that connects us this way and passes the good, right? It's the time we spend together, it's the interactions we have, it's the actions we make toward one another that allows us to pass the good along. And allowed him to pass the good to me.
And some, mostly. And I would invite you to kind of do a little research on this Jeremy Renner thing, right? So again, a little pulp culture thing. Pulp culture? Pop culture. But you remember he got run over by a snowplow and he died, right? Snowcat. No, but he died for a minute. He died for a minute, right? And you see interviews with him, and he says, the coolest thing is I felt the good go with me, right? So I invite you to read the interview. It's pretty cool, right? So I think life persists and the good persists, right? It's kind of important. Hit the next slide. Okay. So to Martha's prompt, are people inherently good? Well, if you consider that which persists or makes life better is good, then by the immediate corollary is we are therefore good, right? Our nature is to persist good. Right? Next slide. Community, right? So this is kind of the idea where now the interconnected web comes in, right? Because the actual community is this idea of through our connections, we're extending our love. We're passing along our energy, right? And I love the Coretta Scott King kind of quote on this, right? The most important kind of measure of the greatness of a community, right, is its ability to be compassionate for others and to express that compassion with real action, right? That's really important. Express it through real energy that goes through this interconnected web, right? So I would argue then that love, right, what we're doing for expressing our compassion, the actions of our compassion is our expression of love. And love is that thing, that sort of weird, hard to describe energy that's going through the interconnected web. Next slide. Right. So, coming up close to the end, we might only be like 5 minutes over here,
Yeah.
but it kind of begs the question, and me and Erin went around and around on this. Is it God? Is it life? Is it love? Is it which comes first, right? Was it the chicken or the egg or the being from the primordial ooze, right? I mean, so where does it start? Mm-hmm. And we came to the conclusion was we don't know. So press the next button. It's the manifestation of the interconnected web of existence, right? So for us, I would argue that while we still don't know, and I beg to differ with anybody who says, I know, but this is close to our definition of God as you can get, right? Next slide, right? So then brings us to the interconnected web of existence, and there's a lot of points of view and a lot of names for this concept. It's clearly, as we demonstrated a little while ago, right? It could be static and stateful, as in I have a relationship with my wife, I have a relationship with my daughter, or it could be extremely dynamic, right? I walked in this church for this facility for the first time today, and I met somebody new, right? It's always changing, it's virtually infinite, it's dynamic and random, and a really important thing is, well, I might not be directly connected to somebody, in a different state, it's in a different country. I'm connected to them who's connected to somebody who's connected to somebody who's connected to somebody who's connected to them, right? The Kevin Bacon theorem, right? 6 degrees of separation, right? So, and then from our point of view, and get into a little bit of the scientific, you were going to take this.
Yeah,
right?
this one's
Okay,
me.
okay.
Come
Yeah.
on. Because we're talking about Star Wars. All right. So the important thing about that web is not just that it's there and it connects us, but that it actually transmits that energy between us. So I'm a Star Wars nerd, and I could not think of anything better to describe this than Obi-Wan's quote about the Force from A New Hope. It's an energy field created by all living beings. It surrounds us. It penetrates us. It binds the galaxy together. And now, I think George Lucas was really onto something there. He also offers another insight about the force. It's that all living beings make up the living force. And then after life, you pass to the cosmic force, which in turn feeds the living force, and so on and so forth in an endless cycle, right? Now, he may have been a great science fiction writer, but that idea, or he's got science too, because that idea that energy persists even through a change in form, that is not fiction, that is the first law of thermodynamics, right? And so since Newton first described that law, we've discovered different kinds of energy, chemical, nuclear, potential, kinetic, electric, geothermal, and they all follow that rule. Energy persists through change in matter. So why wouldn't our life energy follow the same rule?
We'll leave you with that question. Next slide. So just a little nod to a concept, right, of the notion of karma. I should probably have Peter tell us all about karma, right? But the whole idea, right? Sorry? It's your karma. Oh, okay, it's my karma.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. But the whole idea that there is this interconnected web, right, that sort of transmits the energy, good or bad, right? And so if you look at what the Buddha belief is, that the good in, you get good back, right? Eventually you get it back, right? So pay it forward. Next slide. Okay, so the afterlife, right? Was this you or me?
You wanted it.
Okay. I wanted it. I'll take whatever. Okay, so, and here's the interesting thing. Back to the little demonstration, right? She did one pull, that Alice, right? Gave us one pull, and it never went away, right? So that input into the interconnected web, and this is kind of when somebody says, well, what about your soul, right? What about my soul, right? It's my energy that I put into the interconnected web. It's the energy that my dad put into the web, right? That went through me, that went to her, that went to, my dad was a school teacher, and it was so cool. You would walk down the beach in Ocean City, Maryland, and there's just, we couldn't walk 100 yards without somebody saying, hey, Mr. Catlin, right? So it just keeps going around and around and around, right? It is perpetual, it's infinite. Over time, and somebody brought this up, I think it was Colleen, right? That what made it so powerful was, yes, it dissipates because it spreads out, right? It spreads out, but then it gets amplified because it feels good to do so, right? So, and there's a lot of great examples of that, right? Certainly, if you will, the teachings of Jesus, right, have been amplified and amplified and amplified, right? Put aside the trappings of whatever religion, the fundamental tenets of what he was telling us were pretty good stuff, right? So, and then it comes back to, right, like we said, it eventually, it all comes back to you. So next slide, right?
I think this is it. Yeah.
So this is it. So, God to us, right? You got to know. You got to just give a nod to, and I love this quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson, God is personal. I'm sure there are a lot of thoughts in the world, theologies or whatever, that would want to define that for you, but I love his quote that it's personal, right? So you guys don't have to agree with this, in case, right? And I love that Ayn Rand here says, it's beyond our power to conceive. So apologies for not being precise, because there's some pretty smart people who have recognized it's pretty hard to define. And then I love this one by C.S. Lewis. I just gave up and admitted that just God is, right? Period, right?
Oh, and then I'll take this next one.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we had this like chicken and the egg conversation a little bit while we were preparing for this. We were like, well, what comes first, the web or the energy? Does the energy create the web? Do the connections create the web? Does the energy just travel along the connections over and over and running? No, they are one, right?
Yeah, it's just so.
They are.
Yeah.
It just is. Yeah.
It just is, and there it is. God is, right? Yeah. I think that's our last slide. We're done. 5 minutes over.
That was amazing. We're going to go ahead and extinguish the chalice. So say with me while I extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame. Until we are together again. Our closing music is 134. Please rise as you're able to, and we will sing this. We will sing this together. Yes, I'll take a note from you, please. Which is what note is that one? I think it's that, but. Oh, it's high. Okay. Anybody can sing it an octave lower. So I have two sets of closing words because I have difficult time making decisions. So you have to bear with me. The first one is from the Unitarian Universalist Side with Love, which is our kind of campaign or underlying thought around how we build justice in our society. So and the Side of Love campaign runs from basically MLK Day through Valentine's. So we are in the month of Side with Love, although it's all year. The work we do together to build a world in which all of us are free and thriving is interrelated. When we ground our spirits, grow our skills, and act strategically for justice in deep relationship with each other and our movements, we choose to side with love. And this is from Bishop Marianne Edgar Boudet, I think is how you pronounce her name. And I asked Reverend Kathy, well, she invokes, God a lot in this, and not everybody believes in God, as we've talked about. But speaking for her own faith, her words were, "Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger, for we were all once strangers in this land. May God grant us the strength and courage to honor the dignity of every human being, to speak the truth to one another in love, and walk humbly with each other and our God for the good of all people in this nation and the world." Those were part of the sermon that was read in the National Cathedral. Yes. So, I think we're finished. Go in peace, and have a good rest of your week. And join us for coffee and conversation. I was like, ah.
That was lovely.
Thank you. Thank